So when tackling the revision for the PhD, accumulated knowledge is so important. I've already talked about it several times in my Facebook post, but I will talk about it once more because accumulated knowledge is what actually lasts with you. It's not the temporary knowledge that you have after, a intense revision, but it's rather something that is internalized in your brain. And to actually know the importance of the accumulated knowledge, we need first to understand how the brain works. So before even embarking on revising a certain subject, we need first to understand how the mechanism is storing information so that we can actually store them in the best condition possible. And basically how the brain stores information is very different from that of a computer. Basically, the brain, as we can see here, stores sequences of patterns, okay? And recalling just one piece of a pattern can activate the whole. And to actually reach that stage of activating the whole, a person needs first to transfer the knowledge to its long-term storage, okay? This is why the accumulated knowledge here is so important. So again, apart from the immediate memory and apart from the working memory, and apart from all of these, which are generally used for storing temporary memories. And so the long-term storage here is what actually matters. This will lead us directly to the cognitive belief system. The cognitive belief system is the total of all that is in our long-term storage areas, and it forms the basis for our view of the world around us and how it works. This is why we say that it's something that is unique. It's more like a fingerprint, okay? So each person has its own cognitive belief system. This is why even if we revise together and we revise the same thing, our answers will be different. Because at the end of the day, once we reach a certain stage of long-term storage, okay, in the brain, obviously, we will create what is called the cognitive belief system. And so we will view the world differently. Even if you give me, like, I'm the same person, right? And I do have one cognitive belief system, right? Still, if you give me one question and you'll be like, answer it now, and with an interval of 1 hour, you give me the same question again, I will never write the same essay. You see, because it's something that is generating, connecting information on the basis of the stored data. So this total construct of how we see the world is called the cognitive belief system. So the thoughts and understandings that arise from the long-term storage again are greater than the sum of the individual items, which are literally combined in many different ways. So as we accumulate more items, the number of possible combination grows, obviously. This is why it's so important to store information in your long-term storage so that you can actually get to them. Okay, this is why at the very beginning I stated that these sequences of patterns and recalling just one piece of a pattern can activate the whole is literally under this thing that is called the cognitive reserve, the cognitive belief system, sorry. Okay, so the more knowledge, the more you accumulate, the better it is, especially for a PhD contest, because you will be like facing unpredictable questions, right? So it's very good to have a basis, a strong basis. It's a reserve. It's something that is internalized. It's not something that you've revised in the last second prior to the exam and you just expect it to save you. This is, you see? So it's something that you've already internalized. It's something that you have now. It's yours to manipulate. And to reach this stage, this means that you fully grasp what you're doing. You fully grasp the information, that you can actually combine those sequences of patterns in any way, shape, or form to answer the question. This is what matters. This is why I always necessitate on the importance of accumulated knowledge, and that the more items you accumulate, the more possible combinations you can actually create out of them. Okay? So basically, accumulating knowledge is vital, and you can start months or even years prior to an exam or to anything in life where you can actually need those stored info. What is mind blowing is that, as we can see here, the sensory register, along with the temporary memory systems, they use past experiences as the guide for determining the importance of incoming stimuli to the individual. Okay, and so in here we can see that if an individual is in a new learning situation, the past experience signals the sensory register that prior encounters with this information were successful, then the information is very likely to pass along to working memory. So it's more like what? It's more like a correlation, right? And so in here we can see that it's more like a loop. So the information that you already have in your brain are literally helping you to revise. So do not starting your revision. And when you say revision, I really want to know, because many people have this misconception of the concept of revision. You're saying revision, but most of you are learning new things. You're not revising something that you already know. Most of you are asking, like in the Facebook groups or in groups in general. I used to see people asking for the lessons. They don't even have the lessons. They don't even know what the lessons are. Most of us, even me, myself, like we were venturing into new fields we've never studied before. And so in here, it's not a revision. You are learning a new thing. So this is why it's so important to start learning and accumulating knowledge way before starting your revision. So in here, once you revise the knowledge, you will find a solid basis, okay, on which to place that knowledge. And this is all backed up with science. I'm talking based on what researchers have found. Okay, this is exactly what is called basically the spacing effect and long-term retention. And so learning is more effective when study sessions are spread out over time. This is it. Believe me, on the day of the exam, you may use an info that was internalized in your brain years ago that you even forgot that it existed, and you will use it. You see, this is why accumulated knowledge is important, especially if the question is unpredicted. This is why the learning is more effective when study sessions are spread out over time. And so you can start from now if you are planning to sit for the PhD exam in the future, and you can have some study sessions that are spread out over time. This is exactly what I've done. So when I was revising sociolinguistics or methodology, I used to share videos with you. It was literally months before the contest, and it was not with the intention of revising for the contest. It was just for sharing knowledge, going through things, because the mindset is so important. If you are putting yourself under extreme stress and pressure, and you're like, oh, I have to revise, I have an exam, etc., you'll be so limited. Do not do that to yourself. I always say, do it with love and with passion. Go through it, enjoy going through it, enjoy grasping it, internalizing it. You will find it one day, okay? You will, of course, find it one day. It will even, as we've stated here, it will even facilitate the process of revision. Once you want to revise for the PhD, you will not be starting from zero. Okay, so this is so important, and I've talked about this in one of my posts. I said that I was not starting from zero because I've already had many sessions that were spread out over time. I was sharing knowledge with you. And this works for teachers. This works for people who share knowledge on YouTube. This works for people who enjoy studying, even offline, I would say, or without people noticing that. Okay. We have also deep versus shallow processing, and it's literally between short-term and long-term storage. The shallow processing is the short-term storage, literally. It's the temporary storage that you have. It's literally revising days prior to the exam. The deep one is when you internalize concepts. It is when you create a reserve in your brain that you can actually manipulate, okay? So in here we have the deep and the shallow processing. Let me put myself right there so that I can see things with you. Of course, the deep one, I would say, fosters stronger and more durable memory traces through neurogenesis. This is so important, guys. Neurogenesis is literally creating new neurons, and to create new neurons, you need time. And you need to give your brain that enough space to internalize it. And when we say internalize a concept, we're literally saying creating neurons to save it in your brain, okay? And to create neurons, we need time. We need adequate sleep. For me, myself, I couldn't sleep. Like prior to the exam in those almost a month, but I would say it was intense in the last 15 days, I could not sleep. My brain was in a state of constant alert. I couldn't shut it down. I used to, when I sleep, I used to revise. It was this bad. And it's so bad for the neurogenesis. This leads to the shallow processing, most definitely. And in the shallow process, this is why most of you say, I revised and I went through all of these, and then on the day of the exam I couldn't connect things. Or this is why when they are basically given a question that needs some correlations, they cannot answer it because they could not fully grasp it or internalize it, and so they could not manipulate it. Okay, so this is so important. This is something that you need to know, and this is something that you need to know before starting your revision. I mean, understanding how your brain works and understanding how things are done is so important in doing anything, okay, especially in revising for a PhD. And basically, a good example of this was in the contest of Mr. Ghanem this year in applied linguistics. So the question was very unpredictable. We were expecting something that has to do with applied linguistics, obviously, and with technology. And the question was about, I really cannot remember correctly, but I think it was about economy and something like this, something that was very unexpected. But once you have what we called here a cognitive belief system or a cognitive belief reserve or whatever the name is, you'll be able to manipulate the info. You'll be able to answer the question. You'll be able to come out with also unexpected answers to the question given. Okay, so this is very important. I guess this is it for today. See you in the next video. Do not forget to subscribe.